Good evening, everybody. I'm Dan Whalen. I'm the oldest son. We're going to get started here, and just wanted to say thank you all for being here today as we celebrate our parents, Tom and Elaine, and their golden wedding anniversary. It's a testament to their loving relationship that you've all made the time to be here today to celebrate. Before we get started, my brothers and I wanted to just give a special shout out to the loves of our lives, Kathy, Teresa, and Victoria. We've each found happiness ourselves, in no small part due to the model set forth for us by our parents. They've already been put to work here. We're so grateful for the gifts that you've given each of us in the form of love, devotion, and commitment. All right, so let's get to this roast. Toast. All right, so let's take a trip back. 50 years ago, our parents started something pretty remarkable. The year was 1976. Apple Computer Company was just founded, and a TV remote was your legs.
Chevy Chase was falling off ladders, imitating Gerald Ford. Garrett Morris was announcing the news for the hard of hearing. And the median income was $16,000. And a gallon of gas cost 65 cents.
And Tom Whalen could walk into a room with sideburns and a mustache, and no one called Child Protective Services.
So there is a passage from 1 Corinthians that I'm sure you're familiar with, that gets read at a lot of weddings. Love is patient, love is kind, you know how it goes. So we were thinking about what that actually looks like over the course of 50 years. And we kept coming back to some of the same stories. So, with that in mind, love is kind. One of my most vivid memories from the back seat of our maroon Dodge Caravan with wood paneling was hearing Mom ask Dad where he wanted to go for his upcoming birthday dinner. After thinking for a moment, Dad says, Olive Garden. No, you don't want to go to Olive Garden for your birthday? Dad, in retrospect, what would be considered a rookie move, decides to double down. No, I really do. Like, unlimited salad and breadsticks. And Mom is undeterred. Nah, come on, for your birthday, let's go somewhere special. So Dad, in what would become a patented Tom Whalen reply, okay, dear, where should we go? Now, Mom didn't like really being called dear, and I think Dad kind of knew that, but that was the extent of any kind of conflict that we ever really saw. They were always truly kind.
Love does not envy. It is not proud. It does not boast. When they met, Tom and Elaine instantly clicked as two Irish Catholic New Englanders in the medical community. Yet in many ways, they're an example of opposites attracting. Mom could have opened a catering business with her kitchen prowess. I'm sure many of you have been fortunate enough to enjoy her cooking, which was planned out meticulously in advance for gatherings. When Dad was left to prepare a meal for us, it would consist of food and food-like items best described as casserole. And let's just say the cowboys in blazing saddles would have passed on it. Mom always played pop music and had us dancing around the kitchen to Mambo No. 5 and Chumbawamba. Dad, on the other hand, would quiz us during dinner about which composer wrote a particular symphony. And during shore outings, Mom oiled herself and baked like Thanksgiving turkey for hours, while my dad mummified himself in towels under an umbrella for the exact 60 minutes he stayed in the sand. In spite of those things, they've always agreed on the big issues: the importance of education, family, and faith. Keeping an immaculate house, watching Jeopardy, but not Wheel of Fortune, and which one of their sons is their favorite?
Love is patient. I'm gonna keep this brief because Dad has probably already started the car and he's mentally backing out of the parking lot by now. Which brings us to our next observation. Over 50 years together, the two of you have shared a lifetime of love, commitment, partnership, and maybe most impressively of all, waiting. Both Mom and Dad are incredibly organized, thoughtful planners, and both have a genuine gift for connecting with people. But when it comes to social events, they've always had very different definitions of time to go. Dad, the Navy vet that he is, approaches leaving like a military operation. There's a schedule, an exit strategy, and ideally the keys are already in the ignition before dessert is served. Mom, on the other hand, treats leaving a party like the closing ceremony of the Olympics. There are multiple rounds of hugs, conversations that restart at the front door, one final story at the driveway, and somehow another goodbye after that. Dad will say we should get going, and Mom hears, perfect, we've got another 45 minutes. And somehow, for more than 50 years, Dad has patiently adjusted his internal departure clock to accommodate it. I mean, conservatively speaking, we estimate he spent roughly 60 full days of his life waiting for Mom to finish saying goodbye. That's commitment. But honestly, that's also what makes your marriage so special. Over the years, we've watched the two of you balance each other perfectly. Dad brings steadiness, patience, and quiet loyalty. Mom brings warmth, energy, and the ability to make every person in a room feel important. Together, you created a home filled with laughter, stability, kindness, and love. While we joke tonight about the waiting, the truth is that both of you have spent 50 years showing up for each other. Through every season of life, every challenge, every celebration, and every ordinary day in between. That's an incredible gift to our family. It's a model for all of us of what lasting love really looks like. Not perfection, not grand gestures every day, but partnership, patience, humor, forgiveness, and choosing each other over and over again.
Love always protects, trusts, hopes, and perseveres. For as long as I can remember, Mom and Dad always made time just for each other. They prioritize the relationship and invest in each other. Could be a nice night out at their favorite French restaurant, Beau Rivage, where they can enjoy a leisurely meal with their regular waiter, Jason, after a long week of Mom carting the three of us around to various activities while trying to make sure our insanely high caloric demands were met, and Dad working case after case, helping countless children and their families in the process. Or periodically, it might mean a special trip, just the two of them, to get away from those day-to-day demands. They'd plan a trip with their trademark meticulousness. And then, seemingly the last item on their traveling to-do list, they would secure a babysitter for us. Now, when I say secure a babysitter, you might picture an interview process that would befit somebody seeking security clearance at the Pentagon. But no, dear guests, that is not the case here. In one of my favorite family stories, Mom and Dad secured a babysitter, and what I can still only imagine is Dad flagging down a random woman from a street corner who was looking for work. Her name, Cousin Claire?
Pearl Jammer.
Pearl Jammer. We are not making this up. This is a true story. Miss Jammer tended for us for several days in which we crossed state lines and somehow evaded finding our faces on the side of a milk carton. But I digress. Mom and Dad had a great trip. And all jokes aside, their example of prioritizing each other is one to behold as they continually renew their vows to each other and keep present the love that was there at the very beginning.
Even after 50 years, Their door remains open to family and friends for gatherings. The house, always spotless, achievements and memories framed on the walls, delicious food laid out, and a drink quickly offered as you walk in. It's easy to think that they couldn't be so perfect behind closed doors, but the truth is, they're even cuter. They hold hands as they walk the beach when they think no one is looking, take the time to write 2 cards to each other every Christmas, and the words "love you" are uttered both frequently and with meaning behind them.
So one last point I want to make is that I honestly can't remember a single time in our childhood or adulthood when we ever saw mom and dad truly fight. However, somewhat recently, it's come to our attention that dad has apparently started fidgeting a little bit more in his sleep. Sometimes aggressively enough that he'll accidentally hit mom beside him. At least that's the story they've told us. And with mom recently needing shoulder surgery, I just want to take a moment to say, Mom, if you're in trouble, blink twice. Okay, she's good, everyone. Don't worry. So tonight, we celebrate not just 50 years of marriage, but 50 years of friendship, family, sacrifice, laughter, and love. Mom and Dad, thank you for everything you've given all of us. We love you more than words can say. And Dad, good news, we're one step closer to leaving.
Okay. Everyone raise a glass, please. To Tom and Elaine, Mom and Dad, Mima and Peepa. May you always find in each other everything you found 50 years ago and more. Cheers.
Cheers. Winning guy.
We love you.
Okay.